Welcome into the Atlanta Hawks fan show for Fan Media. It's your boy Bryce Lewis back again, and we have special guest NBA TV host Chris Miles with us today. How you doing, Chris?
I'm doing great, man. The first round of these playoffs have been phenomenal. I'm ready for the second round to be just as good.
Yeah, man, definitely, man. We only got one series left, which right before we came on here, we talked about in the Mavs and Clippers. So once that wraps up tomorrow, we'll pretty much be on the way second round fully. So I know that must be an exciting time for you also. Obviously, we know the Atlanta Hawks fan show. We got to talk about the Atlanta Hawks second round matchup. But before we get into that, I do want to backtrack to this past series with the Knicks. And the Hawks win it in 5, ended at Madison Square Garden. I just want you to give me your thoughts on that series. Did it go the way you thought it was going to go? Were you surprised by anything? What are your overall thoughts on how, basically, for the most part, the Hawks, outside of one quarter, pretty much played like they were the better team that entire series?
Well, I think the craziest part is Traeyoung joining Michael Jordan as the only, visiting players in the playoffs to score 30 points in 3 consecutive games in Madison Square Garden. So kudos to Traeyoung. I think when you look at elite scoring in the NBA, it's only right that Traeyoung belongs on that list, and it's just him and MJ there. So I think that was a thing that was incredible and memorable. But I think for the Hawks, where I'm like, oh, I think they have a chance against Philly, is their defense. Like, Nate McMillan was a defensive player. He seems to be a defensive-minded coach. And to see them hold the Knicks to under 100 points in the last 3 games, I feel like that might have gone a little overlooked. And that was something to me that stood out as far as like, okay, what do I see from this team that makes me think that they could surprise everyone and get to the Eastern Conference Finals?
Yeah, exactly. And I think people forget, they under Nick McMillan, they were second in defensive efficiency during the regular season under him. In the playoffs, they're second in defensive efficiency behind Milwaukee. So they've always been a really good defensive team under him. He's instilled that into the team. And you saw that against the Knicks. Everybody came into the series saying the Knicks, number one, defense, but then realized the Hawks were just as good defensively when they really commit to it, under the tutelage of Nate and everything. But, like I said, going down to the next series against Philadelphia, this series, to a lot of people, some people think this could be an easy series for Philly. Some people think, some people have said that. I'm assuming that's if Embiid's playing.
Okay, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
All right, and I mean this. When have you ever heard of a torn anything being day-to-day? They said the man has a torn meniscus, and they talking about day-to-day? Come on, man. This is not like, when Embiid comes, it's kind of like, is he going to be able to keep in space with Clint Capella, the pick and roll? John Collins coming from the other side. People forget that Embiid's a very potent defensive player, and the Hawks got bigs that can move. Man, you kidding me?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. And I think the thing is, we just saw what happened with Anthony Davis. You playing with something like that's not the same injury, but you playing with something that can linger like that, especially a tear. I mean, if he lands the wrong way, if somebody hits the knee the wrong way, that tear could become even a bigger tear, and now he's out for the entire playoffs, and it just changes everything. And I think they said he's going to miss game 1, but game 2 and on is not determined yet. So, but I mean, if Embiid does play in this series, what do you think that would change potentially the outcome of this series, even if he's not 100% with the Hawks, or do you think the Hawks still have a very good chance of winning this series?
I like the Hawks, and I really mean that, even though they just beat my New York Knicks. But what I'm saying is they got a coach, they play defense, they got the offensive guy. Traeyoung is that guy that, elite offensively. So you put that all into the equation, and the Bucks were going after Bogdanovich, and how great would it be for it to be the Hawks and the Bucks, man, in the Eastern Conference Finals? Mike Budenholzer facing his former team, Bogdan, the guy that was like, I ain't trying to go play with Milwaukee, I'm gonna go in Atlanta, and you're like, what? But then you're at the same place at the same time. I mean, I think that I could be completely wrong. It could be, Philly and Brooklyn, and you have, the cheesesteaks versus a team that doesn't really belong in New York. You know what I mean? But I do feel like the stars are starting to align for the Bucks and the Hawks. I'm also a fan of underdogs. So
yeah, definitely. I'm a fan of underdogs too. And I want to talk about Trae for a minute because obviously this series is going to be different from the Knicks. The Knicks had good defenders in the perimeter, but it's not the same as Ben Simmons and Thibault. And can you talk about that matchup? What do you think about that matchup? Do you think Trae can continue the same series he just had? Do you think Trae has to change his game, maybe be more of a playmaker in the series? Or do you expect Trae to still be able to beat Trae, score, do what he do, and keep everybody involved?
Well, the question I have about that is more of inside. And another thing that was overlooked in the Knicks series, the Hawks scoring so many points in the paint. I think it was like 44 points in a closeout game in the paint. And that factors in if Joel Embiid is on the floor. If he is not on the floor, Dwight Howard, yes, he's a force defensively still. We also saw that in the series against we saw that against the Wizards to close that one out. But that's it. It's not like Embiid and Howard and this juggernaut. It's like Dwight Howard's the only guy. Is he going to play 48 minutes and hold it down? Is he going to stay out of foul trouble? Is he going to be in space with Capella? And, who's going to pick and pop with Collins? Like all those things, I think the 4 and the 5 positions are going to be critical against the 76ers.
Oh, yeah, definitely. So would it be safe to say maybe the X factor in this series could be a John Collins or a Clint Capella because of that matchup?
My frustration with the Hawks and John Collins is this. Do I like the additions of Bogdan and Gallinari? Absolutely. But what I also see is John Collins like clapping football and Danilo Gallinari with 2 pump fakes, dribble to the left, another pump fake. Like, I'm going to shoot this ball regardless. And to me, the lost man is John Collins, who's like, what? I'm so used to getting these open threes and these lobs. Maybe this is ancient, facts about Collins, but I remember right before the stop and play last year in like February and March, and the man was shooting like 50% from 3, 60% from the floor, was averaging like 22 and 12. And I was like, oh, this dude is on his way. And then it was like, the season ended, came back, they had some new guys, and he hasn't gotten back to that. But I don't think that star potential is gone. I just think that the ball doesn't flow his way as much.
Yeah, exactly. And it's been a big debate all season. Ever since he even mentioned it, even wanting the max, that has been just a big thing in Atlanta Hawks circles. They have been zeroed in with a different vision on everything he does, saying, oh, that's not a max player, da-da-da-da-da. And I'm just like, guys, especially with everybody we have, first, John's a power forward. He has to be given the ball to make a play. Like you said, he has his hands open clapping, right? If you don't give him the ball, he can't, just now have these amazing numbers. You clearly see if you give, I like to use the LeBron and Wade analogy. Remember Chris Bosh, 24 and 10 in Toronto, went to Miami, numbers dropped. Some people are like, are you sure he's that good? Well, you have LeBron and Wade. He's not going to be that same person, but he's capable. John's capable. He's shown it. That third year, he averaged 20 and 10. Like, he's capable. It's just they have to give him the ball. And listen, when you have the shooters they have, especially with the 3-point shooting league, I understand why, you're going to probably run the offense mainly around them. And then, obviously you get alleys to him and Capella. But, I think John is a very valuable part of this team. And I think he can still, and he's played well against Philly in the past. So he's had some pretty good games. So this might be a matchup they maybe want to definitely try to look at, especially if Embiid's not in there. What do you think about that?
I mean, I feel like that's where Traeyoung, I'm not going to look at the points in this series as much as I'm going to look at the assists. And he had some great ones. I mean, the one on the baseline where there was no space and he found Clint Capella, I was like, this is a play that you're not going to see on any highlight. But I can't describe how incredible that bounce pass was inside. I don't know if you remember the play I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. And so I think we're going to need to see plays like that with John Collins. But look, if Hawks fans, if you're tired of John Collins, if the front office in Atlanta is like, we don't want to pay him that much money, there are teams in the Eastern Conference that would give up a lot to get John Collins, whether it's the Washington Wizards or the New York Knicks, so come on, head north, man. This team's looking for you, John. This team's looking for you.
Y'all getting Robinson back. Y'all need him. Y'all got Randall Robinson. Y'all good with them. But I mean, hey, listen, and the thing is too, he's only 23 and he's getting better. Like, you can't just act like that isn't a factor. And the
winner of the first annual Sekou Smith Be Nice to the Media Award, so yes. I'm all about me some John Collins, man. Go ahead, play for the Knicks, baby.
Yes, sir. But that's all we have today, Chris. I appreciate you coming on to the show, talk about some Atlanta Hawks with me, man. Shout out where everybody can find you, and we'll see you next time, hopefully on the show in the future.
Watch more NBA TV. That's where you can find me mostly, man. But also, what is it? Chris Miles TV on Twitter and Instagram. Yep, I think that's it. I'm terrible with social media, man.
It's all good. It's all good. But yeah, like I said, I appreciate you coming on to the show. Atlanta Hawks fans, that was your Atlanta Hawks fan show. I'll see y'all later.
To host a fan show or appear as a fan on a fan show, create a profile in Fan Media Network. Then look for the news page in our website and fan show resources page. Help yourself. We give show hosts a show graphic and team colors, a simple short show format, tips on pre- and post-production, ideas to get fans and guests on your show, Apple News distribution and show sponsorship sales and services to help featured show hosts earn money. Show hosts use our iPhone app to publish their shows. Our website supports Android users.